Hello and welcome to Somewhere on the Spectrum. So at the moment, I am working through the Yoga with Adriene 30 Days of Yoga series. If any of you know about Yoga with Adriene, I find it really helpful. I like that she's quite playful and she has kind of running jokes that you get used to after a while. Every January, she does Yoga with Adriene for 30 days and it's a whole program every day. I've never once managed to get through every day in January. I think my record was it took me about 3 months to get through all of the days. But I recently found she's been doing more playlists. I recently found a playlist that has all of those piled in together. So I'm working through some of the older ones. And the one that I'm starting with is Yoga Camp, which is from like 9 years ago or something. And each video has a mantra. Gotta say, I hate mantras. I'm not a fan of mantras. It's one of the challenges that I have with a lot of the tapping, the EFT, is they use a lot of positive talking. And I'm not very good at that. But anyway, the other day, the mantra was, I am worthy. Mantras are hard anyway, especially if you don't really believe them when you hear them. And I think because someone else has imposed that mantra to an extent, my brain always rebels anyway against them, finds some reason why they're not valuable, useless, or silly. And it always doesn't want to imagine that it could be useful to me or that it could fit. And I think that's my demand avoidance. So these days we're trying to manage the demand avoidance, right? We're trying to figure out how to get around it, get through it, figure it out. She's been saying for ages, like, I am strong. And it's taken me years to be able to say out loud, I am strong. And usually I say it in a silly voice just to be able to get through it. But slowly I've got there and I'm like, yeah, I am strong. But I am worthy. Way bigger challenge. So what is the problem with this affirmation, mantra, whatever you want to call it? So often as late diagnosed autistics, adult autistics, we've had a lifetime of believing that we are generally not very good. I felt I was a wrong person. This was confusing because I didn't think I was bad. Like, I tried at school, I stood up to bullies, I listened to the teacher, I tried to be a good student, but I never could quite figure out how to study. My friends seemed to misunderstand me a lot, and when we fell out, I could never really figure out why or what went wrong. I paid attention to the teacher, but I always seemed to have too many questions. And as life went on, I felt like I mastered some things, but others got worse or remained a mystery. I tried to be normal, but no relationship lasted past 4 months, and they all dramatically imploded at the end. I tried to lose weight, to learn languages, to manage money. Total disaster. All these things that people said, oh, if you just do this, and it just never just happened for me. And with each failure, I lost trust and faith in myself. I started to believe that I was the problem. Obviously, I was the only connecting feature. It must be me. I must be wrong. There must be something wrong with me. So a simple statement like, I am worthy, perhaps not so simple for anyone, but after a lifetime of beating yourself up, I would argue that adult autistics find this one particularly challenging. Am I alone? I think I'm probably not alone. I'm guessing. Let me know in the comments. So is there a fix for this? Maybe. You could try Mel Robbins' high five rule. I'll put that in the description. Frankly, I find it a little bit cringe. I'm not good with mirrors anyway, so it's really hard to even start. But I would say slow unmasking and doing things that you like is a good start. You can always go and do the things that you're good at, but somehow it feels like when you get feedback on stuff that you're already good at, it's like less valuable. It doesn't count as much. For me, a lot of healing has come from my ESL students and other autistic people when I've been working with them, telling me that I've helped them. Getting that direct feedback from somebody that I know that I've spent time with, and them telling me that I'm good at what I do and that I'm helping them, can really help boost my self-esteem. And I've really like gone an extra step with that. And if someone tells me something, these days, I write it down on a Post-it note and I put it on the wall, and I'm collecting those. And that seems like a really dumb thing to do. You know, that seems like a little bit childish. But I think I found a couple years ago, I tried to write, it wasn't I am worthy, it was something like you are loved or something like that. And I tried to write a spider diagram of all the reasons why I was loved, and I got stuck at 3. And it was really hard, and I was really upset about it because I felt like it surely shouldn't be this hard. This is exactly the same thing that I ran into here. I am worthy. Am I really? I don't know about that, you know? And this kind of negative talk, negative feedback is the first response to any of these kind of affirmations that we might be told. And of course, to an extent, everybody has that. And depending on who you are in the world and how you present in the world, you may have that to more or less of a level. And certainly we could say that certain groups will feel it more. But I think because autistic people don't fit into the social hierarchy, and many of us, especially women or people socialized to fit, really feel like we should fit. We feel like we should be doing things to fit. Then every time, especially if you have rejection sensitivity, every time you're told you don't fit, you take that personally. You take a hit for that. It hurts. And you build it into who you are as a person. So trying to unpick all of that pain and negative experiences and negative feedback is a long process, and it's quite a painful process. So when I started realizing when I was teaching, I think the first couple of times someone gave me a compliment about my teaching, I was a little bit like, that was weird. You sure? You sure you mean that? But then it sort of happened again and again. And I made a decision that I was going to start writing this stuff down. And by collecting it, it meant that I had evidence of positive feedback over time from multiple people who had benefited from me being in their lives. That was really important. So I would say if there's something that you do where people do give you positive feedback, whenever they give it to you, for any reason, write that shit down. Write it down, put a name on it, put a date on it, put it somewhere you can find it again, and collect a stock of that stuff. And you may never go back and read it again, but somehow tying things to the page feels very useful. This feeling of being valued by others has made a massive difference to my life, but there's still a long way to go, which is pretty obvious because I think I said it once in my yoga video. I really was very uncomfortable. I hope that you found this useful. I hope that you relate to this in some way, and also half hope that you don't relate to it at all. I hope that you've never had these experiences. Anyway, I hope this is useful. If it is useful, please do like, subscribe, drop a comment, let me know your own experiences. If you're willing to share, I am always willing to hear. All right, see you next time. Bye.